Okay,
Um,
we are live. We
Look,
are live. Are live. We are live.
okay, there we are.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
All right, let me start the recording. Good morning, BCMC University students. Thank you for joining us this Saturday. Coach Jules and Coach Chantel have a wonderful class in store. We're going to be exploring the candle making industry. So, this is great for everyone, right? If you're new, intermediate, if you've done this for a while, it's always great to hear this information. And so, I will share the screen and thank you for joining us on YouTube. This is a part of our Manifest a Motivated Mindset month. And so, we have been sharing all month.
Shadow. Bye.
All right, let me know if y'all see my screen. Are we good?
Good. Yep.
Perfect. All right. And so we will start with Coach Chantel.
All right, everyone. Good morning, and again, welcome to our exploring the candle making industry class. We hope that today's class gives you insight, it gives you knowledge, and it just gives you an overall view of the candle, the many options and the levels in candle making. So, next slide. All right, today's agenda topics. We will be covering the National Candle Association, candle facts, candle making terminology, candle making trivia. Ooh, my camera, I'm sorry, my camera's off. Um, Popular wax types, Chandler checklist, the BCMC University, and a Q&A at the end. All right, first up, National Candle Association. So the National Candle Association was established in 1974. The National Candle Association is a leading trade association representing U.S. candle manufacturers and suppliers. And as many of you know, last was it July, our conference, we had Kathy Lavinier. She was a former president of the NCA. She was there representing, well, not representing them, but she was there as she definitely has the knowledge expertise as NCA president. So we often look to her, and she's also taught a class in the university. So we often look to her for the candle insight that we're supposed to have on how to create safe candles. So the mission of the NCA is to promote safe, quality candles and advocate for the industry through education, science, and standards. Industry standards. The NCA works closely with organizations like ASTM International to ensure consistent testing and safety protocols. All right, industry leadership. The NCA is a trusted voice in the candle making industry and is committed to protecting the reputation of the market by addressing counterfeit or substandard products. As I said earlier, Miss Kathy was on here before talking about how to test your candle. I mean, she went really in depth on how to test your candle, like taking it, cutting it in half, looking to see for different errors or what's she gave us insight on what to look for as far as knowing your candle is a good candle and when your candle is not a good candle, how many times you should do a test burn. So anytime you're in doubt or have questions, always go to the NCA to as your guide on how to, even with your labels, what you're supposed to have on your label. So I highly recommend that whenever, if you're new to the industry, that you research the NCA, watch the video from Miss Kathy, and just get that insight that you need and that knowledge you need on how to create a safe candle. Because when you're selling candles to people and people are burning burning the candles in their homes, you want to make sure that your candle's safe. Because what you don't want is to have an unsafe candle and then other things happen because of that, and we don't want that. So, membership and adherence to NCA standards can enhance a brand's credibility and consumer trust. Staying informed about NCA updates ensures your candles meet safety, regulatory, and performance standards, which can protect your business and reputation. Our reputation's all we got in this business. And the minute someone says, "Hey, I got a candle from you," burn this, and this happened. People have had candle makers have been sued because their candles either burned their house, or burned something up. We actually had a story from one of our members in the community, who was talking about he was sued because the candle he made it burned an
It
ant.
burned our coffee table. So it
Yeah.
burned the coffee table. It was I think he had a tin. And you know how
Mm-hmm.
some of the tins have the little feet on the bottom where it kind of raises the candle up a little bit? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if his did or didn't, but in anyway, it did burn the coffee table. And
Mm-hmm.
this supposedly was like an antique table
Mm-hmm.
that this customer had, and he had to pay for it. And so,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It happens. So don't think it can't happen. And unfortunate and I think his I don't know how what it did with his reputation per se, but you just were people are quicker to spread bad reviews than they are positive. So just make sure that your ducks are in the row and that you are following safety protocols when it comes to your candles.
And I was going to say before we go to the next slide, also, Coach Chantel was talking about Kathy. And so if you are part of the university, make sure you go back. I think there's actually 2 or 3 classes because when she first came on, it was in I think it was in 2020. She kind of that was when everything was popular. We're putting the flowers in your candles
Yes.
and doing all those things, and there was some testing done by NCA, so she was talking about that process. And you could put them in but don't put too much, or don't put this and don't put that. So it kind of scared some people a little bit, but it was great information to have. And then she also has a class in the university on ASTM standards, so you definitely want to go back and watch that class in the university. Lots of great tips.
Mm-hmm. And had I not watched Kathy's video, because I was one of those perpetrators, the people that was violating and putting flowers in my candles, thought I was doing something. And had I not watched Kathy's video, I would still be putting that in my candles. And when I first heard her say it, I was kind of rebellious. I was like, I'm still putting it because that makes I love having, decorative flowers, but or botanicals in my candles. But then I realized, I'm like, what if somebody gets this candle and this dried rose catches on fire and it becomes an issue. So I did stop doing it, and I can tell who hasn't watched Kathy's video or are not familiar because they still doing it, and nobody should be doing it really unless you have a wickless candle and you're just you want to decorate it that way. But having a wick along with botanicals is a no no. I think yeah. Next slide. Key contributions of the NCA. They emphasize the importance of fire safety practices and provide resources on safe candle usage. They educate consumers and manufacturers about proper wick trimming, draft-free environments, and extinguishing methods. Funds and supports scientific research on waxes, wicks, and fragrance to improve product safety and quality. They address issues such as soot emissions, air quality, and burn performance. And I also want to add to, and Nick and Jules, I know she's going to go more into it. There's so much that I learned through the NCA, even with myths that are on the internet. A lot of NCA has dispelled a lot of those myths for me. And when I first started making candles, I did a lot of research on Google, YouTube. This wax is bad. This is what bad. You need to do this, and that's probably one of the reasons why I started with the way I did, because I got this information that was telling me all these bad things about other waxes, but NCA is the one that was like, "Hold up, that's not true. This is what it really is." So I would say look to them as I won't the Bible of candle making. So kind of like just keep that in mind and not to say other entities aren't so good sources of information, but NCA, they're the ones that kind of govern they're not kind of they govern the candle industry. So offers the NCA also offers resources for consumers, including tips on safe candle usage, choosing the right candle, and proper disposal of candle materials.
And I should have pointed it out in the beginning, but if you do want to take a look at the NCA website, it is www.candles.org. I think I had it at the beginning of the slide, but yeah.
All right, membership resources for candle makers through the NCA. Access to industry research, market trends, and safety updates. They also offer guidance on compliance with federal and state candle regulations, including labeling, packaging, and safety standards. And Kathy did talk about that. Like, there's a whole thing about how we're supposed to package our candles, how we're supposed to label them, things that I did not know. And when I tell you, when the way she broke it down, and I'm probably going to go back and watch that video again, because when we're making products for the masses and for consumers to buy, we have to make sure that we're following these guidelines, or else we can get in trouble for not following these guidelines. So this is serious. Not to scare anybody, but just we have to make sure that we're complying with the guidelines of the industry. They also offer detailed information on material specifications, including waxes, wicks, dyes, and fragrances. They also offer webinars, workshops, and seminars focused on improving candle making techniques and understanding the market. All right, Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, protects consumers by stopping unfair, deceptive, or fraudulent practices in the marketplace. They conduct investigations, sue companies, and people that violate the law. They develop rules to ensure a vibrant marketplace and educate consumers and businesses about their rights and responsibilities.
Yeah, and I put this in here because this is a company, or the FTC is an entity that NCA works closely with. So you'll notice, and they do this a lot, they'll pop up on people's websites. They do
Yep.
audits. They even with the candle companies, they really go in and they look to see, okay, what kind of products. And there was a particular company last year, and I won't, of course, I'm not gonna call them out, but the NCA went in and they were like, hey, you're not supposed to be selling these types of vessels. And so these were the you know how when you have a wine bottle or something like that, you cut it in
Mhm.
half and you make a candle out of it? Because I used to think that was the cutest thing,
Me
right?
too.
But the
Me
NCA
too.
was like, you can't do that. We don't know where this glass came from. You haven't, and so and they're not really made for candle making. And not to mention, you can also get sued by the company if you have a. I'm just gonna make up a bottle, Hennessy bottle. Okay, I'm just making it up. You cut that Hennessy bottle down, sand it down, whatever, put the wicks in there. Hennessy can sue you because first of all, that's their brand. You're using their bottle. And then not only that, the FTC can come after you. And so they kind of work together with NCA to make sure NCA is going in and looking at these different companies and what type of supplies they're selling to the consumers out here in the world. And they'll send them notice to say, hey, you need to pull that down. And I actually saw that live and in action because Kathy sent me an email about it. And she was like, she saw that they were one of our vendor sponsors. She's like, hey, I sent this message to them, they're in violation, blah 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 blah. So yeah, they not just out there playing, they really looking at people's stuff, seeing what people are doing. So
Yeah, so no wine or Hennessy bottle candles, y'all. Sorry if anybody was thinking about that.
all right, so now we're going to go into a couple of candle facts, and this is helpful because if you are just starting in candle making, these are great facts to know about to kind of help you with marketing and research. If you're doing candle making now, these are tips that'll help you, or these facts will help you kind of dive into where you might want to go with it and so forth. So, a little candle history and culture facts. So, ancient origins. Candles date back to around 3000 BC, with ancient Egyptians using rushlights soaked in animal fat. That's how it started. Candle symbolism. In many cultures, candle represent hope, love, and spirituality. They are often used in ceremonies and celebrations. And then the first scented candles go back into the 19th century. So the concept of scented candles became popular in the 19th century as perfume and wax making technologies evolved. A little of the candle industry facts. And so, global market value, the global candle market was valued at approximately $10 billion in 2023 and is expected to grow to 13.72 billion by 2028. So this is a compound annual growth rate, which is, your CAGR of 6.7% every year. So it's growing. It's growing. It's going to continue to grow. Leading consumers, the United States is one of the largest consumers of candles, with Americans spending over 3.14 billion annually on candles. It's a lot of money, y'all, on candles. Um, Popular uses, so around 70% of candle purchasers use them for relaxation, stress relief, or aromatherapy. And again, all these facts are surveys and research done by NCA as well. Seasonal peaks, the holiday season accounts for nearly 35% of annual candle sales, with Christmas being the top selling occasion. Candle Business Insight facts, businesses thrive. So over 80% of candle companies are small or artisan businesses, making the industry perfect for entrepreneurs. Profit margins, the average profit margin for handmade candles ranges from 50% to 70%, depending on the materials in your branding. And then online sales boom. Approximately 60% of candle sales now happen online, showcasing the importance of e-commerce. Some fun facts. Fragrance reigns supreme. So, about 75% of candle buyers say that fragrance is their primary reason for purchasing a candle. Color choice, while fragrance is the top deciding factor, 90% of consumers say they also pay attention to the candle's color when choosing a product. And it's interesting because we do have a class with Coach Ari. She's out in LA and she actually did a class about color and candles and what they mean and how people perceive them when they're purchasing them. So check that class out as well. Average burn time, most scented candles burn for about 7 to 9 hours per ounce of wax. And then Wick Wonders, there are over 100 types of candle wicks, including cotton, wooden, and even crackling varieties. So some of the consumer behavior facts, favorite scents. So this was interesting. The top selling candle scents in the US currently are vanilla, lavender, citrus, and sandalwood. I don't know why they don't have no florals in there, but I don't know what's going on, but that's fine. I guess lavender could count as a floral. Impulse purchases. Over 50% of candle buyers admit to buying candles on impulse because they were drawn to the scent or the packaging. Important. That is important. Ding, 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 ding. And then household staple. About 7 out of 10 households in the US, that's a lot, use candles regularly. So these are great facts to have your wheels spinning, especially the one about those fragrances: vanilla, lavender, citrus, sandalwood. I'm going to repeat that, y'all. Vanilla, lavender, citrus, sandalwood. Get them on your shelf. Put that in your get those scents and put them together. That's what people love. All right. All right.
Terminology. I have one question too. If this information is helpful, put a one in the chat if this is being helpful to you, what we've given you so far. All right. Come on, ones. Come on, ones. Let us know. Let us know. Also, speaking to Jules, scents. and the top scents in the US candle industry. I highly recommend that you guys go to the website, type in fragrance wheel, and Google Michael Edwards fragrance wheel. He's the one that developed the fragrance wheel. It tells you how the fragrances work when it comes to scent combinations, their families, subfamilies. It's a great resource for candle makers, even if you make skincare, whatever you make. It's a good thing to know because it tells you what scents go together, what scents are typically not, you don't don't go well together, and it has a whole diagram of how to um call the, forgot what you call it. But anyways, go to that website, and it's a great resource.
What's the website again, sis?
It's I put in Michael Edwards fragrance wheel, and a bunch of different websites
Okay.
will come up. But I think the one that's for him is Michael Edwards fragrance wheel, and it'll take you to the website because he's the one that
Okay.
developed it. So make sure you go to that. I don't know the actual website. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go into candle terminology.
Fragrances of the world. Yes. Thank you, Alicia. So, what is a chandler? A person who makes or sells candles. That's what a chandler is. From an occupational surname that meant candle maker or candle seller. So it's originated. This term originates from the Middle English and Old French origin. Candle making terminology continued. Burn time. We often hear the term burn time. My candle has 10 hours of burn time. My candle has 25 hours of burn time. Burn time is the amount of time it takes for the wax in a candle to be consumed completely. So from the time you start burning that candle to the very last, to where you can't burn it no more, that is considered your burn time. Y'all know how to calculate your burn time? Candle makers, y'all know how to calculate that? Um, you don't have to, this is rhetorical. Burn rate, amount of wax consumed per hour.
Yeah.
That is your
And
burn
then
rate.
the burn rate, and there is actually a formula on how to
Uh-huh.
calculate your burn rate, and we're going to be working on a class
Mm-hmm.
to go over all types of calculations for you, probably it'll be in March. So,
Okay.
yep.
Yep. Yep. Cold throw. It's the fragrance emitted from a candle when it is not burning. So when you pick up a candle off the shelf and you pick it up and you smell it, that's the cold throw. It's when it's not lit. Cure time. Allowing a candle to set or age to help enhance the fragrance. Flash point is the temperature at which fragrance oil can ignite if it encounters an open flame or spark. Hot throw is the fragrance emitted from a candle when it is burning. Melt pool is the wax that liquefies as the candle burns. So you'll hear us saying, make sure the candle, when you're doing your when you're burning a candle for the first time, make sure it has a full melt pool. That's what that means. It means that it liquefies the candle wax that liquefies as a candle burns. Mushrooming is the up carbon buildup on the tip of a wick after burning. So after, you'll notice that some wicks, after you burn them, it looks like a little mushroom in the top. Scent load is the amount of fragrance a wax type will hold. So you might see on when you're looking at specifications for different I know Candle Science does this. If you're looking at a specific fragrance oil, it'll tell you or wax. I'm sorry, it'll tell you how much fragrance oil you can put in that wax. Some say 8 to 10, some say 10 to 12%, or 8 to 10%. That's how you know what the scent load is. Sweating is the tiny beads or pools of fragrance gathering on the top of a container candle. So a lot of times I've had this experience where, especially in the summertime, I'll have where I'll make a candle and then I'll see the next day like little beads of it's wet on the top, and that's the fragrance. I did something wrong. So it's when the candle it typically means the fragrance hasn't been fully um, enmeshed with the wax when you were stirring it together. Tart is, or a wax melt, small portion of scented wax used in a tart burner and made in various shapes. Wax melts, you see that a lot with people making wax melts, candles. Tunneling, wick doesn't make a full melt pool and leaves a ring of unmelted wax on the sides. Do you guys know how to fix tunneling when your candle tunnels? Put a one in the chat if you know how to fix tunneling. All right, y'all. Come on,
Yeah.
y'all better know how to fix tunneling.
And you don't want tunneling to happen because that's not going to leave a good impression with your
Mm-mm,
customer. So when
mm-mm,
you're testing, you got to make sure your candle is not tunneling.
mm-hmm.
All right. All right, let's go into some trivia. And again, a lot of this is based off of research done by NCA, things that we've consulted on with Kathy Lavinier. And so let's get into it, candle trivia. And so in the audience, I see you all on YouTube as well. And then we have our students in the university. You're going to put your answers in the chat, and then Coach Chantel's going to let us know who got it right and who didn't. All right, number one, true or false? Unscented candles are safer than scented candles. True or false? And I'm going to give you about a minute so that, because I know there's a little delay in YouTube, so I'm going to give everyone a minute. And you can, I'm glad y'all did the S. You can do T for true, F for false, so you don't have to type the whole thing out.
Nikki said that's enough time to Google. Let me know when you're ready for the answer, sis.
Oh, I'm about to give it. I'm about to give it. What do we have? What do we have?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We have a lot of falses on
Hmm. Hmm.
YouTube. What do we have in this chat? Because I can't see this
We
one. See.
got Monique says false. Shelly says false. Toya said false. Kristen false. Tony false. Abba's false. Lois false. We got Miss Muriel's false. We got a lot of falses.
Okay, let's see. The answer is false.
Yay, yay.
So, unscented candles are safer than scented candles is false. There are no known health hazards associated with scented candles, scented or unscented. You can rest assured that any well made, remember that, any well made and properly burned candle will burn cleanly and safely. I'm going to say that again. Any well made and properly burned candle will burn cleanly and safely. Fragrances approved for candle usage, whether synthesized or natural, do not release toxic chemicals. And then I have the source then again, National Candle Association. All right, next question. Get ready. Candle soot is harmful. T for true, F for false. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
I'm trying to see where it's okay. Shelly.
So we've got
Shelly
some.
says true.
We have some falses.
Yep, Monique false.
I'm looking at YouTube land.
A lot of truths. We got a couple falses. You're right. We got a couple falses in the chat over here.
And then I have a couple of truths on YouTube. It looks like I got more truths than falses. All right, we're about to see. False, false, false.
Mm-mm.
And when I first saw this, I got it wrong too, because I was like, yeah, it's harmful. So here's the thing. The small amount of soot produced by a candle is like soot given off by kitchen toasters and cooking oils, which isn't considered a health concern. So, when you're cooking and you burn a couple things in the kitchen and that soot comes up, chemically different from soot formed by burning of diesel fuel, coal, or gasoline. Okay. Again, it's chemically different from soot formed by burning diesel fuel, coal, or gasoline. So, ways to reduce candle soot again, trim wicks to 1/4 inch before every use to promote proper flame height. And as candle makers, we know this, and we need to make sure that we're constantly letting our customers know that as well. You have to trim your wick because you will see that soot, you'll see the smoke. Trim your wick or get a wick, that is, you've got your wicks that are, um, they don't produce a lot of that. They're like a self-trimming.
Mm-hmm.
Place candle away from drafty areas to avoid flame flickering, and then ensure your wax pool is free of debris. Because sometimes I see this a lot, especially when I go to like my family's homes. They'll cut or trim, and they'll leave the
Yes.
they'll cut it, and they'll leave the what they cut
Mm-hmm.
inside
Mm-hmm.
of the pool of the candle. I'm like, why are you doing this?
My mom's a repeat offender. I always get on
Not
her
supposed
on
to
it.
do
I'm
that.
I'm
Supposed
putting
to
her on
trim it and
blast.
throw away what you trim. Do not leave it inside of the candle because now you're gonna burn the candle and you've got these pieces in there of what you cut. What's the point, right?
Black
And
dots
so,
all up in the candle. Like, what is going on?
so yes. All right. Next question. Candles that contain lead wicks should be avoided.
Hmm. Hmm. Got some truths. Okay, we starting off good. We starting off good.
Candles that contain lead wicks should be avoided.
True.
What we got, YouTube? Okay, we've got truths.
Got a couple of falses.
Got truths, truths, truths. Okay, we've got mostly truths on YouTube.
We got mostly. Oh, wait. We got some. We got a couple of falses over here. Two. We got mostly truths. We got mostly truths.
Mostly truths. Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
go.
Couple of falses.
True, true. True. Candles that contain lead wicks should be avoided. So, the use of lead in candle wicks was identified as a public health concern in the 70s and was banned in 2003. So, they used to sell them, they were banned in 2003. Now you do have, and some people get them confused, you have the metal core wicks, but they're not lead, right? They're metal core wicks, and they're usually the ones that help, the wicks stand up straight. But that is not, they do not contain lead. And so they're made with zinc or tin and are used in container candles and votives to keep the wick upright when the wax liquefies during burning. All right, so there are no lead wicks available. They were banned. They should not be used. All
Come on,
right.
out loud, Miss Melly Mel. She said they were outlawed. Come on, outlaw.
All right. All right. So here's my favorite one. Some candle waxes are better than others.
mm. What y'all think?
True
Y'all
or
think?
false? What we got, YouTube?
Oh, we coming in strong with the falses over here. Here
We
we go.
got we got some falses in on YouTube land. We
Couple of truths.
got we got some truths.
We got one person said depends.
Somebody said that's relative. Okay, we got a false. We got more falses on YouTube than true.
Same here.
All right. And y'all know this was one of the biggest myths, right? Back in 2020. This was huge, huge, huge. This has been like a controversial topic, right? So I was glad to have this myth put to the forefront. And I was like, I'm going to bring two of the biggest industry leaders These are the people that supply the candle wax to the suppliers that we purchase from. You've got International Group, IGI, right? And then you have Cargill. So IGI, they're the producers of your different blends of paraffin wax. Cargill, they do the soy waxes and all of that. I was like, I want both of them on. I need to hear both sides. And and there was a study done um, by NCA. They put a lot of money into a study to see where we're going with this. So let's get to the answer. The answer is false. The answer is false. And so NCA funded an international study on soy wax, paraffin wax, beeswax, and other commonly used waxes, which showed that all well made, I'm going to say that again, well made candles, well made, exhibit the same clean burning behavior and pose no risks to human health or indoor air quality. So let's get a little deeper. So this class, if you're part of the university, this was the Candle Wax Knowledge and Myths Debunked class on September of 2020. We brought on Steve Bell, who's the director, and now he's even higher up, and he's a part of NCA now on the board of directors. International Group Incorporated, which is IGI Wax Company. If you purchase wax from different companies, you may see this company's name. They're huge, IGI. They are one of the largest leading paraffin wax suppliers in the candle industry. They've been in business over actually 77 years now. And so I will play the snippet from Steve Bell, a part of this class. Again, if you are in the university, you can type in that title of the class, go back and watch it. But here's just a snippet that I'm going to play.
Here's a good question that I think everyone, someone just asked, explain why paraffin is considered not good. Because she says, I get a lot of people saying the chemicals they throw off in the air. So here's one of those misconceptions, right, Steve? So
right. Yeah, I mean, the short answer to that is it's misinformation. Back in 2007, the National Candle Association, which is really the only, I guess, group for candle makers, they commissioned a study on emissions in candles. And this was sponsored by a bunch of companies, including IGI, also including Cargill, which is the major, probably the largest vegetable wax producer in North America, and some other companies sponsored this. And they had a third-party company in Germany called Okometric that did very, very detailed study. I remember when we were doing that study, one of the sponsor groups with that was a group of people that represented the wax producers. And during their conference, they had set up a presentation to update them on the progress of the testing because they had given money for it. But the problem is the person that was working on that at IGI, they canned that person. And I had to go to Houston with 2 weeks notice to give this whole update on a technical project I knew nothing about at the time. But the result of that work demonstrated that when the candle system is properly designed with a proper wick. Now, keep in mind, they had no fragrance in this candle. So they used soy wax, paraffin wax, palm wax, and steric. And they found the emissions between the four systems were very comparable. They were basically similar to each other. The idea that paraffin wax is full of these carcinogens, I mean, the waxes that we sell meet, I don't know if your group's familiar with something called Proposition 65. Have you heard of Proposition 65? So that's, for those on the call that don't know that, that is a piece of California legislation. It seems all legislation starts in California, right? And but what they did is they have this huge list of materials that are known to contribute or have leanings towards cancer or could have issues with cancer. And so when you claim your products meet Prop 65, you're basically saying that none of those products on that list are in your products. And that's our waxes meet those Proposition 65 requirements, as do the soy waxes and a lot of other waxes. I think what people are seeing is, they're just not informed. I mean, this is coming from my view. I work for a paraffin wax company. I've been here for 20 years, but the science just simply does not support that. People say there's studies, but you got to look at how the study was done. It really is based on how you design the candle system. Are you selecting the right wick? Are you, how much fragrance is in there? Is it being blended right? All those, and if you don't do that right, you get soot. and people think, okay, the soot, there must be all these toxic chemicals in the soot. But there's a ton of misinformation on that.
Yes.
The National Candle Association will typically respond to those types of articles when they see them, saying, look, we feel you're misinformed on this. It was interesting. There was an article in the Chicago Tribune, like not that long ago, that was talking about, well, these candles might have problems, this and that. And then somebody said, oh yeah, you were in the Chicago Tribune like 6-7 years ago, quoting and talking about waxes. I had totally forgotten about it. So there is a constant debate going back and forth. I would say, if you talk to the even the vegetable wax companies, there's a gentleman named Tim Murphy. He works for Cargill. He's spoken at seminars and things like that. He will tell you the same exact thing. It's based off the candle system. There's no appreciable difference in the emissions level between these types of wax systems, and that's just what the science says. I don't know if there's a different way I can put it.
All right. So that was Mr. Steve Bell. He is still in IGI International Group. He's actually in a different role. But yes, that is one. And then the other.
Here's a good question that
I'm going to go to the next slide. Then the other company that he mentioned is Cargill Wax. And so we did reach out to Cargill. We wanted to get their side of the story, because y'all know that's what I do. I'm like, let's see what they talking about, y'all. So we have a class called Comparison and Characteristics of Candle Waxes. And so this was March of 2023. Again, if you're part of the university, this class is available for you to watch the whole thing. This is Mr. Jim Gross, who works under, or formerly worked under, Mr. Tim Murphy, that was mentioned earlier. He is the former director at Cargill Wax, one of the largest leading soy wax suppliers in the candle industry. They've been around over 150 years or 158 years. And so let's listen to what Mr. Jim Gross had to say about this.
And Jim, I have a question, because I know as we're talking about natural waxes, a lot of people shy away from paraffin. I'm a paraffin baby. I love paraffin wax. I've been using paraffin wax since I was a baby. I'm just joking, but I love paraffin wax. And so when you say natural, a lot of people, that's a common myth, right, in the candle industry. Paraffin is not a natural wax. Can you clarify with the whole paraffin?
Okay, so technically paraffin is natural because it comes from the ground. Okay, so I mean, yeah, so you're right that it's a misnomer. I should say vegetable-based or renewable resource-based, and that's what soy or palm or anything that you can grow and replant and replenish it. So so when we say natural, most of us think of a plant-based. So, but you're absolutely right. Now you're getting into legal terms. So you're right, but paraffin is natural. It comes from the ground. It's natural. It's from the earth. It's not artificial. It's from the earth. The other thing too is once I've claimed, and you might see it maybe on our webpage. I may still have it up where it says all natural. That also is not true from a strictly chemistry point of view. What we do is we take soy oil and we hydrogenate it. So now it's gone through a chemical reaction. At that point, I can't really say it's all natural, is it? It's not. It's been reacted. It's gone through a chemical reaction. Now, is it still that plant-based material or a renewable resource? Yeah, absolutely. Is it all natural? No. Did I farm it from the soybeans and it was already wax? No, I had to create it. I had to do a chemical reaction. So technically, from a legal standpoint, you can't say, if you're pouring 100% soy wax or palm, whatever you're using, you can't say it's all natural because it's gone through a chemical reaction. So you have an excellent point, Jules. You can't, paraffin is natural. So I'm not going to argue that. Typically people think though, when you say natural, you're talking about a plant-based or a renewable resource-based wax.
All right, so there you have it, y'all. Again, you can watch both of these courses in the university so you can get more information because they were pretty long classes and they were amazing classes. So, all right.
And Jim, I have a question.
Go to the next slide. All right, Chantel.
We got our few popular wax types. I love this. Is my favorite part. Making candles, choosing the wax. We have beeswax.
And so if you're new out there, this is great. We're not going to go through every single wax because there's so many now, but these are your popular ones that we want to kind of give people a glance at.
Mm-hmm. So facts and benefits of beeswax. It's the oldest candle making wax, also known as the best wax for candles. It is also the most expensive. So if you are thinking about doing beeswax, please do it. I would never tell you not to, but just these are some things to keep in mind. It's known as the best wax, but you're gonna spend that money on it. Wax is excreted, and beeswax is made by wax is excreted by bees into the combs to incubate their larvae. Larva infused with honey during its creation, so it has a naturally sweet fragrance. It can be purchased in blocks, slabs, pastilles, or pre-rolled sheets. It's 100% all natural wax, and it can be used in all wax candle types. It can be used in pillars, tapers, votives, and containers. Paraffin wax. This is Jules' fave. This is what Jules stands by. She will always ride for paraffin wax. Don't you say nothing bad about paraffin wax because she's going to let you know. It is easily available and the least expensive wax. It's a byproduct of petroleum made from leftovers of crude oil refinement process, but does not contain toxic parts. So kind of going back to the previous video, it is considered, if you think about it, natural because it comes from the earth, but it does go through a refinement process like most waxes do. So I will say that when I first started my research on candle making 8 years ago, paraffin wax, they have just smeared this wax's name. I'm telling you. And I was like, well, I'm not getting this wax because all this bad stuff they're saying. And so soy wax it is. But through the National Candle Association, I found out paraffin wax was not toxic. And at first I was kind of like, I've already done the research. They said it's causing lung cancer and all this stuff. No, it does not. So I don't know how I think because it said it came from crude oil, I think people just went crazy with it and came up with all these different things. But paraffin wax is okay. It is also sold as colorless blocks or slabs. Its most commercially available candles purchased in stores most candles made in stores and purchased in stores are made with paraffin, just an FYI. It holds color and fragrance oil very well. And I will attest to that. Jules candles hold fragrance very well. So if you ever had any of Jules candles, because she does use paraffin, those candles are it's gonna be on 10 when you light it. So it is the most versatile. It's the most versatile wax because it's used in pillars, containers, votives, tea lights, tapers, and tart candles. You can use it in anything. Soy wax. This is my baby now. This is my baby, soy wax. I came into the candle making game with soy wax, but side note, we might be at the end of our relationship. That's for another story. That's for another time. I'm going to stick to the program. The facts and benefits of soy wax. It's one of the newer waxes developed in 1996 as an alternative to paraffin wax. So paraffin wax was, all the beeswax, paraffin wax. I remember when soy candles were becoming a thing when I started. It's 100% all natural wax made from hydrogenated soybean oil. It's biodegradable. Soybeans are biodegradable, renewable, and all natural. So soy wax is considered the all natural wax. You'll hear a lot of people are using this wax now because it's considered all natural. People were starting to be more conscious of what they were burning in their homes. So soy wax was that wax. And it's a lot cheaper than beeswax. So I think a lot of people went to that alternative because it was a lot cheaper to, especially candle makers, it was easier to make these candles opposed to beeswax candles. It burns much slower than other waxes. It lasts longer, which is very true. Preferred for its softer scent and doesn't hold so much fragrance, often blended with other wax. I will say soy wax, it holds fragrance, but you have to use heavier fragrances in soy wax for it to really pop. But it does hold fragrance as far as the lighter ones, but it's not going to be like a paraffin wax that's going to really make fragrances pop. But it is a great wax to use. You just have to, you have to test it and work with it. It's available in soy wax flakes. It's ideal for making container candles, jarred candles, tins, votives, tea lights, and tarts. Coconut wax. A lot of people are using coconut wax, one of the newer waxes as well. It's a little pricey, but remains a top purchase. That's very true. I know they have the coconut apricot wax now. They have a coconut wax. They also have a coconut apricot wax, which is more on the higher end. It's unique, soft, creamy color. It's produced by pressing oil out of coconut meat. Then it goes through its own process of hydrogenation, filtered and cleaned, given 100% natural and fully biodegradable wax. Fragrance is very pleasant, whether cold or hot, and it gives a slow, even burn. Eco-friendly leader, fewer coconuts are needed to get a sizable amount of product. Organic process of harvesting the oil is continuous and sustainable, as the coconuts themselves are a permanent resource. So if anyone's thinking about getting coconut wax, these are some good things to know about it.
The Chandler checklist. Give me 1 second. All right, so let's go through our Chandler checklist. So these are some things to keep in mind. Some investments. So if you are new out there, or even if you're doing this and don't have these things, make sure you invest in a scale. And of course, there are other things to invest in, but these are the top things we would talk about. Almost every supply except color is measured by weight. So buy a scale that allows you to measure grams or ounces. Invest in a thermometer, whether you do a direct one or an infrared. A thermometer is the only way to accurately track and record the various temperatures in your process. And then invest in a pouring pitcher or a Presto pot. I prefer the Presto pot. They have, the companies that are making the melters and everything. We highlighted a company not too long ago on All Up in Your Wax, but you need something to transfer your wax blend into your candle molds or your jars. All right. And so some tips, build a wide portfolio of suppliers. We learned a lot about this during the pandemic when everyone was making candles and we were running out of supplies. Couldn't find your wicks, couldn't find your wax, you couldn't find your vessels because everybody was buying them. And so you want to make sure you have a backup plan to that. What if the company goes out of business? We saw that with 1617. They just abruptly said, "We out. Peace." They didn't give no warning, right? They're like, "We out of here. we gonna ship your last orders and in peace." We ain't heard from them no more. Don't know where they at, right? People got their last bit of orders and that was it. So now people are like, wait a minute. This is where I was getting my wax from. This was the only wax I was getting. This is where I was getting my fragrance oils because they had unique fragrance oils. Like, where am I going to get it? My customers love this. Now what's going on? What's going to happen? So you've got to have a backup plan. So the candle industry has changed since the 2020 pandemic. You want to ensure you have a wide portfolio of suppliers you buy your products from. Create a temperature management plan. Important. Always track your temperatures, especially your pour temps. That is the gateway to success. when you're pouring, just keep track of it. What temperature am I pouring at? What temperature am I doing certain things at? That way you can always go back and refer to it. So maximum wax temperature, the fragrance oil temperature where you're adding your fragrance oil, what temperature is that? If you use color, right, it's not really critical, but when I use the color, what temperature is it at? What temperature am I pouring? What temperature am I curing at? What is my jar temperature? All right, so just keep track of all those little things, and then be generous and give away candles. So your process will require opinions and tester candles, especially if you're starting or if you're creating new candles. Send them out, give them out, and let people test them for you and give opinions to you so that you know if this is a good one, is it not good, what do I need to do, right? Especially your tester candles that you know you're not going to sell. Create a couple of them and give them away. I know people say they give stuff away to like their mail person, UPS people, whoever, right? Teachers at the school, whatever. Just give them away. Let people give feedback to you. Sharing candles with others helps to build your brand and allows you to gather valuable feedback from people. So those are some good starting tips, or even if you're still in it, when you're making something new. So some best practices, test every candle and design. Some people feel like, oh, I've got this down, but I'm going to switch my wick up, and they're not testing it, right? And so you switch your wick, you send it out, it's not burning the same because you didn't test it. Your customer calls, hey, this candle's not burning like the other one. What's going on? And you're like, oh, I did switch my wick. That might not be the right wick, right? So don't allow impatience to be the reason your incredible invention accidentally either harms or burns someone in their property. So if you get a new batch of wax, sometimes they have a slight change in properties or behave differently under the same conditions. And sometimes, y'all, you can have the same wax and the company may have switched something on you and didn't tell you. Right. And so you're burning it. And that's happened to me before because I've gotten wax. I'm like, wait a minute, why is this wax wet on the top? What is going on with this wax? And I'll call and I'll be like, hey, this ain't my wax. What's going on? And they're like, oh, that might have been a bad, just whatever. You just want to test it because sometimes they'll switch on you thinking that, oh, we just gonna sell them this thing. Oh no. No, we know. We know because we're testing them. It's not burning the same. Right. So make sure you're testing, especially when you're switching waxes. If you're changing your containers, I'm telling y'all, they're not gonna burn the same. Just because you got your formula together and you switch to another vessel, you got to test it because they're not. I promise you, they're not going to burn the same. Um, if you have a unique fragrance oil and a load, you've changed your blend. Oh, I'm going to blend these two together and I'm just going to, I'm going to send it out. It's going to be all right. No, it's not because you don't know what that blend is going to do. You don't know how it's going to burn. So you need to test new wax blends. If you're changing wicks, all of that test. And so these two things that we have a guide on safety testing in the university. So if you're a part of the university, go to the student lounge, and there's all kind of resources in there for you to download. Lots of different things in there, math calculations, all kind of stuff. So utilize those resources in the university in the student lounge. And then there's also a basic burn test guide in there as well to help you out if needed. All right.
Okay. We're going to talk about the BCMC University. Woohoo! The BC University membership benefits. You guys get a lot of benefits when you join the team. Unlimited access to monthly live and recorded courses, 3 to 5 per month, because we're always doing classes. Unlimited access to over 150 plus courses, access to industry content experts and leaders. You guys, we have leaders. Like I said, the NCA, the company, the organization that governs the whole candle industry has videos. They have spoken with us. They've come to our conferences. We've gone to their businesses. In LA, we went to General Wax. We went to all these different entities that have they're heavy hitters in the industry, and they are a part of BCMC University. We have unlimited access to student lounge filled with free candle industry resources, templates, and documents. So there's no, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, we have all the resources here in one spot for you to get anything you need, anything you want to know, anything that you might have questions about in this university. Exclusive vendor sponsored discounts on candle making supplies and BCMC merch. Supplies aren't cheap. When you're trying to make your candles and you're trying holidays, Valentine's Day is coming up, all these different holidays, you might just be a person that just always has large orders. These discounts, y'all, they're not cheap. They're not cheap. These are good discounts. So make sure you're getting in on these discounts by joining the university. Student open forum, Q&A chats and meetings. You're going to get exclusive raffles for chances to win prizes and supplies because Jules loves giving away some stuff. She loves giveaways, y'all. And it's not going to be nothing crazy. It's going to be good. So if you like to win prizes, join the winning team. Book BCMC team consultation hours for one-on-one support, Chandler mentorship with other members and ambassadors, and so much more. So if you wanna be a Chandler who you ain't up all in the videos dancing, come and join BCMC University. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all crazy. Who remembers that? Join now using code MLK Junior 20. Yes, MLK JR 20. MLK Day's coming up this Monday. We want to commemorate him with this code for $20 off your monthly membership. So instead of paying $49.99, you're going to pay $29.99. Once again, that code is MLK JR 20 for $20 off your monthly membership. This deal expires on Monday, 1/20/2025. Sign up at www.bcmcuniversity.com. Any questions?
And this is only going to work for new people that are not a part of the university. There was a question in there.
Oh, I didn't see the question.
No, it's on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Like, I didn't see no questions in here.
All right. Any questions? Let's do some Q&A. I will stop sharing.
Any questions? Or was this presentation that thorough?
I have a question. And I think it's geared more towards marketing. And if I'm not mistaken, and I heard it right last night when Shelley was giving her presentation, I thought I heard her, maybe I was hearing things. I thought I heard her mention Range Me. And so my daughter and I both make candles. She makes a different kind than I, but she's been inundated with emails and calls from Range Me. So I was wondering if anybody has had experience with it, and if so, can give me some tips whether to join, because it's very expensive, according to, for them to assist. So I just want to know if anybody had experience with it.
Miss Shelley, Sarah, you got some info?
The floor is yours.
Well, forgotten how I found out about Range. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Okay. I forgot how I found out about rangeme.com, but they will inundate me with emails. If I've gotten calls, I haven't checked them. I'm like, well, leave a message. I'll get back with you if I don't recognize it, But the grocery store that got a hold of me, I was looking at Walmart. I'm like, trying to get myself together. Do I want to do Walmart, Target, but they have candles. People are like, you get your candle in there. Some of the candles got in there, it ain't even good. So I was like, okay, but I didn't want to bite off more than I could chew. And this smaller company reached out to me, but you got to watch it because they kind of scared me to death. They were like, we want you to do like I was just in, but they wanted to see my products. So how are you going to have me in and you haven't even seen my products yet? I mean, you do put your stuff on the platform so they can look at it, but they haven't touched it, smelled it. How am I in so quick? But they wanted me to do a Shark Tank-like presentation. I'm like, wait, what? I'm not asking for money or funding. I've never done that. What do you mean? It was basically just a presentation. I went into a hotel. They had a whole day people that they were seeing. It it amazed me. They had like maybe 30, 40 companies here in Oklahoma that came from everywhere to show their products to get in the store. Majority of them they had already accepted. Other ones they were, thinking about. And I just did my little presentation like I do for my pop-ups. And for them, I don't know about for everyone on Range Me, it worked. Now there was for that particular company, the communication could be a little bit better. And some of the things that they did were a little vague, but if you work with them and you ask them questions like, hey, what do I need to do? What is this? What is that? Usually it's okay, but I haven't had a problem with Range Me. And you can go through and look, there's like, I don't want to name any, but pharmacies, grocery stores, the big retailers, all those are in there. So I really haven't had an issue with Range Me that I know of.
And I think I remember you bringing that up, Miss Shelley, in the conference too about Range Me, because that was my first time hearing about it, and it sounds like it's a very good opportunity for candle makers. So you are official consultant on Range Me.
I'm gonna have to remember who told me this.
So get ready.
I talked to a lot of people, and they were like, "Well, you need to get your candles in recent. You need to do this." And I'm like, "I need to do a lot of things, but we need to keep it on a nice stream." So I forgot, and I'll have to look. But Range Me wasn't bad, and there's other ones out there too. I just can't think of them right now. But I went with them, and it worked for me.
So you're saying it's worth it paying that? I think they told my daughter it's like $1,500, and you're presented through these large companies like Macy's. And
now that's different. Like I said, I went through the brochure. They had already accepted me because what they were doing was mine was a little different. Like I said, the I'll say Research Store 905, they built that from the ground up because they took one of the research from here, and people who lived way out south were like, hey, we have to go into town through 5-6 miles to get to a research. So they made it, and they said, hey, we're going to make this a mecca. We're going to make it, this research has an entertainment stage. So we could have an entertainment people locally or people from other places come in, and they have a stage out in the back. They have a playground. I was like, at a grocery store? They want you to stay there and buy things. But they have this. And this to me was unheard of. I haven't heard of any other grocery store doing this. An entertainment place, a playground, that of course they have their snacks and stuff like they have in their regular model. But like I said, this other company from Texas took it over, and they wanted to showcase made in Oklahoma people. And I was like, that's awesome, because MIO is an organization here that I'm part of as well. And you'll go in there and you'll see the little, hey, this is made in Oklahoma, like our Griffin's from Muskogee, Okie from Muskogee, Griffin's Syrup Company is in there, and other places. And some of these people I hadn't even heard of, or I had seen at some of the pop-ups. Like there's a butter spread lady, and it's perishable. Once you open it, you pretty much have to use it fairly quick. You can put it in a refrigerator, but she used it on her toast, and I sampled it. I've seen her. She was at the hotel doing the whole Range Me thing as well. And or I didn't know if she came through Range Me. Let me take that back. But she was with research. So that was a whole different world for me. Now the $1,500 when the bigger ones, I haven't gotten to that part yet. I didn't have to pay anything other than bringing my resources in and becoming a vendor for them. So I haven't hit the big guys yet. If that's an investment she wants to do, because I figured that was going to be money. That's another reason why I was like, I'm a lurker. Let's wait into this and see what's going on before we commit. So that I'm not quite sure on, Ms. Muriel.
Thank you. Did that answer your question, Muriel? Okay. And then I know Alicia had a question about the fragrance mixing classes. So we do have two. We had one with Coach November, where she was talking about crafting captivating fragrance blends for your brand. She is a famous perfumer out in the Atlanta area. If you do plan on working with her, let us know. We can send you a code. And then Coach Vanessa, she did a class on how to blend fragrance oils and the calculations behind it. So if you're part of the university, those classes are there. And we will have Aromatic Fragrance Incorporated, AFI, or International AFI, next month, doing a class for us as well. And they're famous for creating dupes for you. If there's a blend that you want them to do for you, they will do that. They will be coming on next month. Let me see. Any other questions? Was this class helpful? Trying to see if I can get into the, here we go. There's a comment in the chat. Toy said, oh, go ahead, sis.
No, oh, go ahead. Oh, I don't have a question, but wanted to mention that I've noticed when I look at candles at Marshall, seems like the candles do not list the wax type or any of the pertinent info that is required by the NCA. It makes me question how it's made. Any thoughts on why the NCA requirements are not listed on the candles in Marshalls?
Yeah. What's interesting though is Marshalls, I mean, they're not branded by Marshalls. The candles in Marshalls are sold by different companies. And so I don't know. I couldn't tell you because I know they sell different brands in Marshalls because I used to be a Marshall candle buyer, but they're all different companies in Marshalls that are purchased. So good question. Yeah. I mean, I don't think they're going into the stores looking at candles. I know that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say that, sis. I was gonna say a lot of the information that we get from NCA, a lot of people aren't privy to that and they don't know it. So I think it could be a thing where they just don't know that they're supposed to have certain label requirements, or like they said, the NCA doesn't go in and say, hey, and they might, I don't know, but there's no way to really answer that. I would probably that might be a question to call and ask them, like, hey, I noticed that you guys are carrying candles and we don't have specific NCA guidelines, and see what they say.
That is a good question. I would email them.
It's a really good question.
It's like, hey, y'all need to go into Marshalls and do a whole haul of candles.
Because they ain't obeying the rules.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and Tony said sometimes it'll be on the bottom. That is true. Sometimes the company's information is on the warning label because they create their own warning labels and they'll put information on the bottom. So that is true. Yeah, that is true.
Nikki said they're gonna say we don't care. And many of them don't. She's right. Many of them don't care. It's like I said, they don't know. They don't know or they don't care. And either way, but like Jules said, email or call them and find them,
Yeah.
I'm a candle maker. I want to know if I want to have candles in there. I want to know what the requirements are, because I'm seeing candle makers in here that aren't following NCA guidelines and federal guidelines.
And I'm gonna share my screen because I do want to show, especially if you are a member, what that student lounge looks like, because you have access to the student lounge in BCMC University. And this is a great way of finding the different classes. So on your dashboard, you'll see student lounge at the bottom. When you click on it, it'll show you like all of the latest classes, different posts. But on this side here, when you click on it, there's classes about building your brand, right? And so we've had all these classes here. So they're all lumped into different categories. Candle making intro classes. There's Kathy right there with National Candle Association. If you were in Ohio, she was there dancing with us when we had the candle ball.
Yeah.
So that's Kathy. So those are all the classes there. Creating other products. So if you're into making like candle, beverage candles, room sprays, we have a whole series, body butters. So Coach Nikki led a lot of those classes. Extra income idea classes. So we had a class about interior design candles, TikTok live, private labeling, brick and mortar. So we had a lot of that. I think this was an Etsy class, Black Friday sales, event setups, and there's more. There's when you click on load more, it'll pull them all up. Here's a tab on fragrance oils. So any class about fragrance oils will be up in here. Funding your business classes. All the links are there for you. Influencers, we've had a lot of influencers on our show. Malcolm MJ Harris, we did an interview with him. We did an interview with Terry of Harlem Candle Co. We did an interview with Sir Candleman, Jackie Ina. So all those classes are there. Legal protection classes, all of that is in there. Level and scale up classes, all in here. Let's see, got a lot of categories. Luxury brand creation. So Coach Nikki led a lot of these as well, creating PR product boxes, creating gift baskets, how to set scenes for product photography, all of these types of classes, how to create luxury candle lines on a budget. So all of those are in there. Mind shift and goal setting classes, all in here. Let's see. These are our relay day classes that we've had. Those are our bundle classes, social media and marketing classes. Let's see. Website enhancement classes. And our Shopify expert is Miss Carol Ching. And then this is where you'll find all the document files we have. So how to ensure prompt and effective customer service, candle math formulas, Woodwick size guide, candle math for Chandler guide, Chandler note-taking template, burn test template, product pricing template. We've got all kind of templates in there. And then this just goes to our monthly course list. So this will tell you what the monthly courses have been since the beginning. So all that is in the student lounge. So utilize the student lounge if you're part of the university. There's lots of good stuff in there.
And we have a question in the chat. Is there a class on labels in the university? Sis, correct me if I'm wrong. I know for sure we have a class.
There is. Coach Nikki did a class on how to make labels. We've also had someone come in, and I forgot which coach that was, but she actually showed us how to make a basic candle label in Canva. So we have that class as well.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, I knew Coach Nikki did a class, and there was
yes.
So yes.
Yep.
Jasmine.
Yep.
It wasn't. I don't know if it was Jasmine. Was it?
I think it's. I know she. Yeah, something
Okay.
like that.
So yes, to answer your question perfectly and perfect. Yes, that we do have classes on how to make labels.
We do. I'm trying to see if I can go back to the. Let's see, because we have over 150 classes, guys. I want to make sure I see.
Is that what is it, Tashi? That thank you so much for those who are not a part of BCMC University is definitely worth it. Thank you. Yes, I agree. The ability to access these classes at your convenience is amazing. Thank you for saying that. Yes. Unplug and Unwind, is that accessible for the cohort members? What are you asking? What exactly is accessible? The classes or?
So Rose, that's Rose. And so Rose, like we mentioned in class, for if you're part of the cohort, you only have access to the classes that are required for the cohort. You do not have access to all of these classes, just what pertains to the cohort. Now, if you are a part of the cohort and a part of the university, of course you do. Yes. So great question. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I can. Her name was Coach Janae. Yeah. So she showed us how to use Canva to make candle labels. Coach Janae. Yep. Yep. All right. Any other questions? Great questions before we close. So just remember the code will close on MLK Day, and it is MLK Junior 20. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at any time. You can email us at info@bcmcuniversity.com. We have ambassadors that you can reach out to if you have any questions. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye. Have a happy Saturday. Have a great Saturday, everyone.